guys, welcome back to another video, and today it's a very different one because I'm taking a break from train videos right now, and today I'm going to do one of my first ship videos, but my first ship history video. And today we're going to talk about the SS Cymric, that beloved but forgotten White Star Liner of 1897. So let's begin in 3, 2, 1. The Cymric was a steamship of the White Star Line built by Holland and Wolff in Belfast, Ireland, and launched on 12th of October 1897 and completed on February 5th, 1898. And had her maiden voyage commenced on April 29th, 1898 from Liverpool to New York, I believe. The Cymric have a tonnage of 12,552 gross registered tons, or GRT, but it is the ship's total internal volume. And have a length of 585 feet, longer than the Teutonic. Have a beam of 64 feet. Have a capacity of 1,418 passengers, 250 in first class, and 1,160 in third class. Have a speed of 50 knots. Chapter 2. Its construction. The Cymric had originally been designed as a combination passenger liner and livestock carrier with accommodations for only first-class passengers during the stages of her design layout, and it became clearer to the designers at Holland and Wolff, that is located in Belfast, Ireland, that combining passenger liners and livestock carriers had become rather unpopular, so the spaces designated for cattle were reconfigured into third-class accommodations. Now, one thing, I'm not an historian, so if I get something wrong, then I'm sorry, but I don't care. I really do not give a damn. The Cymric retained her relatively small and lower powered machinery intended to drive the ship at the slower, more economical speeds of a cargo liner when her livestock spaces were removed in favor of more passenger accommodations. The high internal volume provided by the former cargo spaces on the Cymric and the relatively small machinery space, as opposed to the more speed oriented for passenger liners of her time, which dedicated a large proportion of their hull space to the boilers and engines, produced a ship that was relatively slow for a passenger liner, like the Cymric right here, but with much more interior space and an uncommonly high degree of comfort. The less power machinery produced less noise and vibrations for passengers and had much lower running cost at the Cymric's intended service speed of 15 knots, which well, at that time, White Star Line's flagship, the Majestic and the Teutonic, have a speed of 20 knots. So Cymric is really slow. I'm sorry, Cymric, but it's true. You're too slow. I'm sorry. Although Cymric's design came about somewhat by chance, she proved a popular and profitable ship and marked the beginning of White Star's shift towards an emphasis on luxurious, high quality and comfortable accommodations over outright speed on its liners, which would mark it out in contrast to its rivals during the early 20th century. Upon final completion, she was designed to carry 1,418 passengers. Her first-class accommodations consisted of an array of three berth cabins. Both open and enclosed promenade decks, a smoke room, and a library, and a spacious and elegant dining room, capped with a large dome. Her third-class accommodations, as was the rule of all White Star ships, and was strictly segregated, did I pronounce that right, at opposite ends of the ship, with quarters for single men forward and single women, married couples, and families with children aft, forward men were provided open berth accommodations, which was less crowded than seen on other vessels, while aft passengers were provided with a smoke room and the general room, as was practiced on board the Teutonic and the Majestic, and later on the Oceanic of 1899. A limited number of 2-berth and 4-berth cabins were strictly reserved for married couples and families with children, while single women were berthed in dormitory-style cabins for up to 20 people. Chapter 3. Service History. The previous chapter was its construction. Chapter 3. Service History. She departed Liverpool on her maiden voyage on 29th of April 1898, arriving in New York on May 9th, 1898. She quickly proved to be very popular on the North Atlantic, particularly with immigrants. She spent the first 5 years of her career on the White Star Line's main passenger service route between Liverpool and New York until 1903, when she was transferred to White Star Line's newly acquired Liverpool to Boston route, which she sailed on for 9 years alongside her running mates, the Arabic of 1903 and the Republic of 1903, before being returned to the New York route in 1912. It was rumored that Titanic's chief officer Wilde was to be her captain, and all her career with White Star spanned approximately 18 years, during which Cymric carried 155,522 passengers. That figure breaks down to 161,000 passenger westbound, with just 31,387 on the New York service and 79,774 on the Boston service, and an additional 44,361 passengers eastbound between the two service routes. And here's the end. During both the Boer War and the First World War, the Cymric was pressed into service as a troop ship and cargo transport. In 1914, Cymric transported British soldiers to France. In August 1915, under the command of Captain Frank E. Bednell, Cymric delivered 17,000 tons of ammunition from New York to Liverpool, one of the biggest shipments of such kind from the United States since the start of the war. She continued to shuttle between the Atlantic coast of the United States and Great Britain, carrying cargo and passengers until her last voyage on April 29th, 1916. On April 29th, 1916, Cymric finished her loading in New York and sailed for New York with 112 people on board, including 5 or 6 passengers. Sources vary, with Captain Bednell in command. On May 8th, 1916, Cymric was unfortunately torpedoed 3 times, 140 miles north off of Fastnet Rock, Ireland, by Walter Schwieger of U-20, and that was the same U-boat that sank the Cunard Line's legendary RMS Lusitania. Yeah, I like the Lusitania. That happened a year earlier. The torpedo explosion on the port side of Cymric's engine room instantly killed 4 crew members. Cymric sank on the next day, although 5 lives were lost, as 1 sailor fell into the sea during evacuation and drowned. Since all who died were British citizens, were no international repercussions, while the general location of her sinking is known. Cymric's wreck has unfortunately not been located. And one thing, between 1914 and 1918, but about 50 large ocean-going passenger steamships converted to war purposes as floating hospital and troop ships were sunk in the Atlantic by the German Navy. Cymric came to be the 37th in the list. And that was the entire story of the White Star Line's forgotten SS Cymric. If you want more brief histories of either trains or ships or anything else, then let me know in the comments and I might take your suggestions, or maybe I'll cover that I want. That anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you want to see more ship story videos, then hit the like button and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything like this. With that being said, I am Mr. Saturn Gaming Stories signing off. Goodbye.